Not everyone has access to a fighting gym or wants to go to one, but still want to learn the art of fighting. And trust me, it's 100% possible to get to a certain level just by watching videos online and practicing alone. I am a good example of this because I am self-taught, and in this series I'm giving away all my secrets on how I got to where I am today, all through solo training. Just a quick disclaimer, having a coach is the best way to go so that you don't pick up any bad habits, but this series is for those people who either don't have the resources or just simply want to learn from the comfort of your own home. In this video I'm going to be covering punching, which is not as easy as it seems. But don't worry, because at the end of the video I'll show you an exercise so you can practice to always land your punches correctly and don't break your own hand. Now let's start simple with just making a fist. And as probably all of you know, the thumb goes on the outside and not the inside. That is pretty obvious. But have you ever punched something and you feel it in your wrist? You punch something and then your wrist bends and it really hurts? A way to avoid this is by simply applying pressure inwards with your thumb. And as you can see my forearm, you can see the tension in my forearm because this is used as a stabilizer for your wrist. So try it yourself, make a fist and apply pressure this way inwards towards your fist, and you will feel your wrist become a lot steadier. But is it practical to walk around like this and punch like that? Well, it may feel like it's a powerful punch because you're all tensed up and clinched up, but really this slows down your punch a lot. So instead of punching with your fist clenched and punching thinking you punch hard, instead try to only close your fist right before you hit the target. Because if your hands are open, there's a lot more speed in your hands. And if you close your fist properly right before you hit the target with the pressure applied inwards, your wrists steady and strong, that's when you get speed and power. So what part of your hand or knuckles do you actually land with? Do you land with all four? If you do, as you can see, these two knuckles are a lot bigger than these two. So if I punch a hard surface straight on, these knuckles will go that way and these will go that way, which will break your hand. So when you're punching, you want to land with your two biggest knuckles instead of landing with all four. So you have your hands open, you punch, right before you land, you tighten your fist and apply pressure with your thumb inwards towards your fist. But what more is there? Well, an important aspect of speed and power is rotation. When you're punching, instead of punching and stopping here, try to rotate your fist a bit longer to get that extra reach and extra speed, which will turn into extra power. Now, as I said at the end of the video, I'll show you an exercise so you can practice and master everything I just said. But before that, it's really important to understand where the power actually comes from. So all power comes from the ground, up into your legs and into your fists. What's really important here is two things. It's rotation and having your feet planted on the ground. So let's start with rotation. As you can see, that's a regular punch, a regular jab. But if I rotate my shoulder, my upper body and my leg slightly, you get a lot more power in that punch. The same goes for the cross. I stand here, there is barely no power in this. But if I twist my leg, rotate my hips into the punch, that's where all the power comes from. Now for the second part is keeping both your feet on the ground. And you may ask, but how do I walk forwards and backwards? I will cover footwork a lot more in depth in a future video, but just for now, if you want to step forward and you want to punch, then the moment your feet hit the ground, that's when you land your punch. You don't want to go here and you have already punched before you land, because there's no power in those punches. Power comes from weight. The heavier you are, the most likely, if you have the correct technique, the harder you will punch. But someone who is light like me, and around 74 kg, could punch a lot harder than someone who weighs 90-100 kilograms if they don't know their correct techniques. So stay low, stay grounded, and always when a punch is connecting, you want both your feet at the ground. So lastly, as I promised, I'm gonna show you how to train and condition your knuckles so you don't actually break your hand when punching. So I made this thing right here, which is just basically a plank with some rope around to make it a bit softer. If you want to check it out how I made it, I will leave a pop-up somewhere up here. But anyways, all you really need is a harder surface than a boxing bag. The reason why you want the surface to be a bit hard is that when you punch it, you can actually feel on your knuckles where you are landing. But do be careful, you don't want to smash it down and actually break your hand. This is just firstly to train yourself to punch correctly and land correctly. And secondly, if you do this a lot, you will break down the bones in your knuckles, which in return will build them up to be stronger. Just remember to don't do it every day. You don't want to just break down your knuckles. It's the same as hitting bicep every day. It's not going to be optimal because you need that recovery to get it to actually grow back stronger. So how I practice this, I just stand like this and I practice everything, rotation from my feet up to my hips, into my hand, and I feel it on my fist where I'm actually hitting. And as I said, don't punch too hard. You're not meant to break your knuckles. That will be counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish. In future videos, I will be covering footwork, defense, kicks, and a lot more, so make sure you're followed so you don't miss it. By the time you're watching this, part 2 is already in the making or it's already posted, so make sure to stay tuned. Like and follow for more.